Good morning, students. In the last class, we have completed a topic, that is relation between the total product, marginal product, and average product. And we have also started a new law, that is law under returns to scale. Okay, in which we have studied that the this law under returns to scale is applicable in the long run, in which all the factors become variable. There is no difference between the fixed factor and the variable factor, and the firm changes its scale of operation by changing the quantity of the fixed and the variable factor in the same proportion. Whatever the factor that is a variable or the fixed, they all are changed in the fixed proportion. Okay, this law under returns to scalar, there are three law which we studied in the returns to scale. It is increasing return to scale, constant return to scale, and the diminishing return to scale. Okay, so what we have studied in the increasing returns to scale, in which all the input, whatever the input is increased, which is given proportion, the proportion of the fixed factor and the variable factor are the same in proportion, the output increase more than the proportionately. Means in the increasing returns to scale, the output is more than the increased in input. So when the percentage increase in the output is more than the percentage increase in all factors of input, means output we produce is more than the input we increase. Okay, so when we increase the input like fixed factor and the variable factor to produce the more commodity, so the output which is produced by the hiring the those input which is fixed or variable, the output will be more than the input. Okay, so this law applicable in the economies of the scale. What is the economies of the scale? It refers to the benefit by the firm on the expanding the scale of operation. When the any firm want to expand their scale of operation, so that what will be the benefit is gained from the any firm is called the economies of scale. Okay, so it is divided into the internal economies of scale or the external economies of the scale, in which internal economies or scale is the benefit is act for the any particular firm only. Okay, it will not related to other firm also, it is only related to the benefit where it is taken. So it is called the internal, and the external is the benefit is applicable for all the firm. It is not any particular unit, it is related to the all the all the unit and for the one firm. Okay, whatever the benefit is taken for this expanding the scale of operation. Okay, so in today and the what we have also studied in today's class, that the we have to study that the what is the for table as well as the diagram of it. So table 5.13, we here we have seen that the table 5.13, that the unit of labor is 1 2, unit of land is 2 and 4. Increase in land and labor, in first unit there will be no change, because in the second unit of the labor and the unit of land we have increased the 100% of input, so that we have increased in the 150% of output. So TP will be 100 and 150, because in first case whenever we have taken the input 100%, so there will be output increases up to the 150%. So in the first unit the input will be 100 and 150 will be added, so it will become 250. Okay, so in the diagram we have taken the all the factor input on the x-axis and the output on the y-axis. Okay, in the first case the input and the output is 100, and in the whenever we increase it, the output is 200 and the input becomes 250. Okay, because input is increases up to 100% and output is increases up to 150%. Okay, so When input is 100, so output is also 100. When the input is increased by the 100%, 100, so when it increase, it will 100 plus 100 becomes 200. So the output is increased up to 150%, so it will become 250, and here 200 or the 100, 200 or the 250. So it is called the increasing returns to scale. Okay, whenever the all of whatever the input we use it to produce the commodity, to produce the output, so the output is always more than the input in the increasing returns to scale. Okay, now the next what we have to study in today's class, so, constant returns to scale. Okay, it is also called CRS, constant returns to scale. If all inputs are increased by the given proportion, constant return to scale hold when output increases exactly by the proportion in which input are increased. That means whatever the input are increased, it is equal to the output of the commodity. Increase in the output of the increase in input is equal to increase in output. But in that case, in the increasing return, increased output, sorry, increased output is more than the increase input. Okay, but in constant return, increase input equal to increase output if all inputs are increased by the given proportion. Means whatever we have taken the different variable, fixed factor or the variable factor, they all are increased by the same percentage. The constant return to scale hold when output increases exactly by the proportion by in which input are increased. That means output, whatever the output increases, it is just equal to the input are increased. जितना हमने इनपुट में इंक्रीज किया उतना ही हमारा आउटपुट में भी इंक्रीज हुआ. इट इज कॉल्ड द कांस्टेंट रिटर्न्स टू स्केल. Okay, for example, if all input is increased by the 100%, if the input, sorry, if the input is increased by the 100%, so output also increased by the 100%. So it is called the constant returns to scale. Okay, now the unit of labor is 1 or 2. When the unit of labor is 1, so unit of land is 2. Here we have also taken that the all the factors are increased in the same percentage. That means 1:2 in the unit of when the 1 unit of labor and the 1 unit of land. So labor, and when we increases 2 unit of labor and 4 unit of land, so it also equal to the 1:2 when we cut it 1 or 2. So all the factors are increases in the same percentage. Okay, so when we hire the 1 unit of labor and 2 unit of land, there is no increase in land and labor. Total product is increased by the 100%, and there will be no increase in total product. When we hire more unit of labor, that is 2, the unit of land is 4, the increase in land and labor means inputs or variable or fixed factor. So the TP is increased 200%, and increase in the total product is increased by the 100. So it shows the increase in 100%. Means input, increase in input or the increased in output is just equal to the increased in input. Okay, so causes what is given here. This law applies when economies of scale are counterbalanced with diseconomies of scale. Okay, that means this ये जो law है which it apply with when economies of scale are counterbalanced with the diseconomies of scale. That means any balances which is another weight. in that condition it is applied that the a weight that balances or the another weight. So in that case this law applies, means it is just when the diseconomies of the scale. Now we have to study what is the diseconomies of scale. ये diseconomies of the scale क्या होता है, we will study. So the table 5.4 what we have seen, a figure 5.10 shows that the output increased by the 100% when we see that the when the input is increased by the 100 to 200, that means input is increased by the 100%. So output is also, in the first unit it is 100 and the second unit it is 200. So output is also increased up to the 100%. So it is called the constant returns to scale, and this law applies when the economies of the scale, that means when the any firm is get the benefit when it wants to expand their scale of operation. So this law applies when economies of scale are counterbalanced with the diseconomies of scale. When it is counterbalance with the diseconomies of scale, in that condition this law applies. Now first of all you see what is the diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies of the scale refers to the losses which accrue to the firm in the industry due to expansion of their scale of production beyond optimum capacity. Okay, when any firm want to expand their business, expand their production beyond the capacity, so that firm will incur the losses. It is called the diseconomies of scale. Simply means economies of scale means the benefit when any firm is getting when they want to expand their scale of production. But diseconomies of the scale simply means it refers to the loss when any industry is trying to expand their scale of operation बियॉन्ड ऑप्टिमम कैपेसिटी. जो उनकी कैपेसिटी है उससे ज़्यादा वो क्या कर रहे हैं, एक्सपैंड करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं अपने बिजनेस को. इन दैट केस दिस इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल इज occurs. These occurs because of the managerial constraint. Okay, these are there are several constraints are there, several management related obstacles are there. In that case the diseconomies of the scales occurs in which any business or the firm is facing the losses because they want to expand their business beyond the कैपेसिटी. उनकी कैपेसिटी नहीं है, उसके बियॉन्ड भी वो क्या चाह रहे हैं कि अपने बिजनेस को वो एक्सपैंड करें. जब वो अपने बिजनेस को एक्सपैंड करना चाह रहे हैं एंड दैट कंडीशन दे आर फेसिंग द लॉस. So it is called the diseconomies of scale. For example, inefficient management due to lack of coordination. Okay, if any business or the firm have facing the problem of the lack of coordination, there is no coordination between the management or their employees or their staff with their CEO, chief executive officer. So if there is coordination is not among all the employees of the firm, so in that case there is inefficient management of the business will not run too much effectively and efficiently. So in that case the diseconomies of scale occurs. Next is lack of availability of the skilled inputs and inefficient investment. Okay, when there is also lack of skilled input, means the lack of skilled labor. When the skilled labor is not available to the any firm or the business, so that the process from which they want to produce the commodity, they all being facing the loss. In that case diseconomies of scale also occurs. And there is also inefficient investment. Whenever any firm or businessmen want to invest their money, but they also every time they faces the loss because they have no idea they have no proper corrective measures to where they have to invest and how much they have to invest, in which condition, in which business cycle, whether it is inflation or deflation. In fact, in that condition, in which condition they have to invest. If there is lack of investment in efficiency, in that case the diseconomies of scale occurs. Okay, so table 5.15 and figure 1.11. Table 5.15. Okay, पहले first of all we have to complete the constant return to scale. After that we will complete that diagram. So we can also see that in the constant return what we have studied, that there is input is equal to the output. So in that case this law applies when economies of the scale are counterbalanced with the diseconomies of the scale. Okay, this law apply only that condition when the economies of scale, when the benefit of the any firm, when the any company want to expand their business, it is the benefit are counterbalance, more weighted than the losses of the any company, losses of the firm. In that case the constant return to scale occurs or the applied. Okay, now you are getting that point, that the economies of the scale or the diseconomies of the scale. Economies of the scale simply means if any firm want to expand their business, okay, and they get the benefit from it, so it is called the economies of the scale. But if any firm faces the losses because of because they want to expand their business, but they have to faces the problem or the loss because of they are using beyond the limit. Okay, they have using the resources beyond the limit because they don't have properly management facility, proper staff as well as inefficient investment, so that any firm is facing the problem of diseconomies of scale. Okay, now the next one is decreasing or the diminishing returns to scale. Now what is diminishing or the decreasing returns to scale? When a given percentage increase in the all factor inputs causes proportionately lesser the increase in the output. Okay, it simply means when input is more than the output. Okay, any firm increase their input, okay, increase it, their input is 150% and output is increased up to 100%. In that case it is called the decrease in returns to scale. Here the problem of the diseconomies of the scale also occurred, but constant return to scale, in the constant return to scale the condition occurred when the diseconomies of the scale are the when the economies of the scale are the more overweighted or the more weighted than the diseconomies of the scale. In that condition there is condition of the no profit or the no loss. That means input is equal to the output. Whatever the any firm invested their money from the input, they can earn the from that output. Means उन्हें 100 रुपीज़ लगाया और 100 रुपीज़ ही वापस हो गया. That means कि it is the counterbalance with the economies of the scale and the diseconomies of the scale. But in the case of decreasing returns to scale, it means there is diseconomies of the scale because firms are facing the loss because input he has invested the, for example, he has invested the 5 lakh rupees, but he getting the only 2 lakh rupees in the return. So it means it is the diseconomies of the scale. Okay, in that condition also when a given percentage increase in all factor input causes proportionately lesser in increase in output. Okay, here input is more, increase in input is more than the increase in output. So we have taken the example, if output is increased by the 50% due to 100% rise in all factor input is invested up to the 100%, but output is increases by only 50%. Okay, So it will be the loss for the any business or the firm. So if there is 1 unit of labor on the 2 unit of land, there is no increase. A TP is increases up to a TP total product is 100. There is no change here. When any firm increase their variable factor or the fixed factor, variable factor up to 2 and fixed factor up to 4, that it leads to the 100% rise in the factor input. So increase in output only 150. So the difference between 100 and 150 is 50. So there is increase in the 50% only. So this is the decreasing or the diminishing returns to scale. Means input, here the input is more than the output. आप जितना इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो उतना आपको रिटर्न नहीं मिल रहा है, तो इन दैट कंडीशन यू फेस द loss. So it is the condition of the diminishing returns to scale. Here this law applies because of the application of the diseconomies of the scale, and the diseconomies of the scale says that the firm or the business faces the losses when they want to expand their business, expand their scale of operation, because the optimum capacity, beyond their optimum capacity. Okay, so it is the condition. We have also seen the diagram of it, that input is increased by the 100 to 200, that means increased in 100, and the output is increased is in the first unit it increased 100%, and in the second it increased up to it increased up to 150. That means 150 minus 100, it increase only 50%. Input is increased up to the 100% and output is increased only 50%. This means it is the diseconomies of the scale. Okay, so it's all about the chapter 5th, production function. Okay, let's have some numerical question of it. Okay, first of all we say this one. We have also solved these question in the these kind of question in the marginal utility and the total utility. Okay, we can see once more that kind of questions, that the following tables give the marginal product schedule of the labor, and it is given that the total product is 0 at 0 level of labor employment. Calculate total product and average product. Okay, in this you see that the unit of the variable factor, that is labor is the variable factor, is given and the marginal product is given. So you have to calculate the TP and AP. Okay, so how you will calculate? The formula of TP is whenever we have to calculate the whenever we have to calculate the TP is summation of MP, and AP is TP upon unit. Okay, so first of all what we have calculate, we will calculate the total product. Okay, so it is also given that the total product is 0 at 0 level of employment. If there is 0 level of employment, so TP will be, it is given in the question when there is 0 level of employment, so TP will always be 0. So we have taken the first one as 0. In the second one and the first unit we have taken 3, so it will also be 3, because whenever we calculated 0 added 0 or so it will equal to 3, so we have taken the 3. Next one we have, what we have to do, 3 plus 5, that is 8, 8 plus 7, that is 15, 15 plus 5, that is 20, 20 plus 3, that is 23, and 23 plus 1, that is 24. So this we can calculate this value, because how we calculate the MP, TP n minus TP n minus 1 to calculate the value of MP. So whenever we have to calculate the TP, we have to add all these value. Okay, so in the first unit it is already given that the 0 level of employment, the TP will be 0, so we will take the 0 value. In the first labor we have taken the third is given, we will make it as a draw same. We will write all the things and we will add these value to calculate the TP. So first will be 3, next will be 3 plus 5, that is 8, so we get the value of 3. Next is we get the 8 plus 7. 8 when we calculate, add this value, we get the value 8, and next value is 7, so 8 plus 7 equal to 15. Then next one is 15 plus 5, that is 20. 20 plus 3, that is 23. 23 plus 1, that is 24. So from this we can calculate the value of TP. And how we'll calculate the AP? AP is just equal to TP, whatever the value of TP upon the units. Units mean this value or the labor. From this we can also calculate the value of it. So what we have to do in this case, what we will do, that AP equal to, yes, first we have taken dash because nothing, 0 upon 0, that will be nothing value, so we will take it as dash. Next one will be 3 upon 1, it will be 3. Next is 8 upon 2, 8 upon 2, that is 4. Next is 15 upon 3, 15 this one and 3 this one, 5. Okay, next is 20 upon 4, that is 4 5 ja 20, we get the value 5. Next is 23 upon 5, 5 4 ja 20, 6, 4.6. Next is 24 upon 6, 6 4 ja 24. So from this we can calculate the value of the TP and AP also. Okay, so it is too much easy to calculate it. Now we have also one question related to the production function, that is, let the production function of a firm. Okay, we have also know that what is the production function. Q is a function of x1 and x2. Okay, here the x1 and x2 are the variable factor and the fixed factor. So the production function of a firm is, here the Q is output and L equal to labor and K equal to the capital. Okay, capital is taken as the K and L is for labor. So find the maximum possible output that the firm can produce with the 5 unit of L, means 5 unit of labor and the 2 unit of the capital. What is the maximum possible output that the firm can produce with 0 unit of L and 10 unit of K? Okay, so what we have to do, we have to put the value of 5 in the place of L and 2 in the place of K. Okay, so it's so simple. So we have to calculate the maximum possible output. हमें क्या यहाँ पे कैलकुलेट करना है कि कितना मैक्सिमम पॉसिबल आउटपुट होगा जब 5 यूनिट ऑफ लेबर लगा रखा है और जब 2 यूनिट ऑफ कैपिटल हम लोग लगाएंगे तो हम कितना आउटपुट को प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं. ओके, इन दैट केस व्हाट वी हैव टू डू इज द Q इज द फंक्शन ऑफ 2L K2. Okay, we have to put the value of L and K. So Q is the function of 2, here the L equal to the 5, so square of it into here the point, it shows the multiplication. Okay, so K is 2, square of it. Okay, so 2, 5 5 ja 25, 2 2 ja 4, so 2 into 25 into 4, 2 into 100, so 200. Okay, we get the value of the 200. So here the maximum output is 200 when the firm hire the 5 unit of labor and the 2 unit of capital. So the firm is able to produce the output which is equal to the 200 unit. Okay, now the next question is also included in it, that is, what is the maximum possible output that the firm can produce when the देयर इज़ 0 यूनिट ऑफ लेबर, यहाँ पे कोई भी लेबर नहीं है और 10 यूनिट ऑफ कैपिटल है. सो अगेन वी हैव टू पुट ऑल दीज वैल्यू in that equation. So q is the function of 2l square and k. So q2l is here 0 and k is here 10 unit of k is given now. So 2 0, whatever we multiply with 0 it equal to 0 unit. Okay, so in this the maximum output when there is 0 level of 0 unit of labor and the 10 unit of capital, the maximum output is equal to 0. When the firm hire the 5 unit of labor and the 2 unit of capital, the firm is able to produce 200 unit. Okay, the maximum output is 200 unit when firm is hiring 5 unit of labor and 2 unit of capital, and when the firm is hiring 0 unit of labor and the 10 unit of capital, the firm's maximum output is 0 unit. Okay, so it's all about your chapter 5th, production function. From this we have completed a chapter 5th, production function. In next class we will start a new chapter.